Hey everybody, my name is Erika, and I'm a facilitator for the Old Globe's Reflecting Shakespeare program. Welcome to our second ever episode of Reflecting Shakespeare TV. If you didn't join us last time, I'll tell you a little bit about our program that we bring you inside. We play warm-up activities to get us all going, and then we read a bunch of Shakespeare and try to figure out what's going on in those scenes. The most important secret sauce of our program is that we reflect on the program and discuss and write about it. And lastly, we put together a performance that includes both a personal writing and our Shakespeare. Before we go any bit forwards, I want to introduce to you our co-facilitators, James and Nikki. Hey guys.
Hey, hi. Hi everyone.
All right, so in case anyone didn't join us last time, why don't we introduce ourselves again? James?
All right, I'll go. Yeah, my name is James, and I trained as a director, and I'm now a teacher and facilitator at the Old Globe, and I work on the Reflecting Shakespeare program. Been doing that for about 4 years, and before that, I worked on a program delivering playwriting to prisons and juvenile hall.
Hi guys, my name is Nikki. I'm a facilitator for Reflecting Shakespeare and other community-based programs. I was incarcerated for 25 years, and I've been working with the Old Globe on Reflecting Shakespeare for about the past year. And before, I didn't know anything about Shakespeare. I'm still learning, so this is just a process, so I'm just really happy to be here.
So let's get things started here the way we do in class with our highs and lows. So let's go around sharing something good that happened to you last week or something not so great, or both. Who's going to start?
I'll start. So I'll always start with a low because I always want to end it on a high note, of course. But my low this week, I really haven't even had a low this week. So I'm super grateful for that with everything that's going on. Of course, everybody's, the society's heavy on my heart. But my high is just being able to appreciate this free world and be out here in society and then being able to give this back into the guys. So that's my high, seriously, right now.
Right.
All right, James?
Cool. All right. So I'll start with my low, and then I'll go to my high. So my low is I am definitely starting to lose track of what day of the week it is. So that's kind of a low. It's kind of confusing. So that's happening. But my high has been listening to lots of music and having the opportunity to rediscover like old favorites and classics, or some that were favorites and maybe now don't sound so good, but really having fun listening to a lot of music. Erika, what about you?
Well, I have to say my low is that I'm having trouble sleeping at the moment. I don't know what that's about, but my high is that we had started not just this television program, but starting to turn the program into more of a correspondence course with our guys at Centinela. And yesterday, for the first time, I'd received some of their journaling back to us. And I cannot tell you how warm it made me feel to read this writing, to read their names, to see their handwriting that I knew so well. And it made me feel like the first time in a long time, this kind of sense of community. And with that, I want to let everyone watching this know that we're going to be asking you to journal along. All right. So now that we've got our highs and lows, should we attempt a warm up?
All right, let's do this one. So we're going to play a round of a game which is called My Name Is and I Feel. And it goes like this. So I'm going to say my name, and then I'm going to make a sound and a move that expresses how I feel right now. When I'm done with that, I'm going to ask Nikki and then Erika and then everyone who's watching to send that back to me, to repeat what I did. All right, so here we go. My name is James, and I feel woo. All right, Erika, go.
My name is James, and I feel woo.
All right, Nikki, go.
My name is James, and I feel woo.
Nice, and everyone watching, there we go. Awesome. All right. Nikki, you go next.
Okay, awesome. So my name is Nikki, and I feel doo-doo. Right? James.
My name is Nikki, and I feel doo-doo.
Awesome. Thank you. Erika.
My name is Nikki, and I feel doo-doo.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. And for everybody out there, nice.
Right.
All right. My name is Erika, and I feel high. Niki?
My name is Erika, and I feel hey.
All right. My name is Erika, and I feel hey.
All right. And now everyone out there.
Nice.
I love that. I hope you're doing it.
Yeah. So what I love about this game, and I hope you're able to join in with us, it's a good time to think about how we can describe how we feel right now and how we might want to sound right now, but not use words, but just use sound and body movement. And we play this game as a warm-up in class, and it allows us to identify how we can express our emotions using our whole bodies. And as we get more and more comfortable as the weeks progress in our groups, those expressions can get bolder and bigger and just more expressive.
Yeah, and I think the most important part too is, emotions inside. Like, we walk around so many times just wearing so many different masks, unable to experience and even express any types of real emotions and raw emotions. So, and don't get me wrong, guys, because they're emotionally illiterate out here also, but this is an amazing opportunity for us to just be able to embrace those emotions and express them. It's awesome. Yeah.
All right. Well, now that we've warmed ourselves up, let's get into some Shakespeare.
All right. So for those of you who were able to tune in last time, I did say that we wouldn't be sticking with one play. But I think there's more to explore in this play we're looking at, which is called Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. So last week we talked a lot about hope, and we also talked about like identity, right? And labels. But this week, let's look at two other things I feel like are really important. And one question is when is it really like love, or really love, or when is it really love, right? And when is the right time to say, I love you? And another one we're going to be looking at is banishment. We'll be talking about banishment.
All right. Yeah. So let's get up to speed. Romeo and Juliet. They're from a city with two rival families, the Montagues and the Capulets. And they've met at a party. Romeo snuck into the Capulet garden after the party and saw Juliet, who had stepped out into her balcony. And they spoke to each other out there. And we saw that last episode. We got into a lot of that scene. But what we didn't learn last time is that eventually things move so fast in conversation that they actually decide to get married. So Romeo doesn't go home after this. He heads straight to the church or to the monastery to see Friar Laurence. A friar is like a monk or a priest or that kind of job. And the friar's up very early in the morning, tending to his garden. And Romeo's still up from the night before. Oh, and one other thing. Before Romeo met Juliet, which was last night, he was crushing on this girl named Rosaline. And, Rosaline wasn't giving Romeo any attention. So we're back to the Friar's Garden. Niki's going to play Romeo, and James will play the Friar. But before we get into the dialogue, see that box that just flew up? Those are our journaling questions, and these are going to be up the whole time, so you'll have time to write them down so that when this program's over, you can start adding your thoughts. So here are our questions. Growing up, who did you trust to go to for advice and guidance? And how do you know when it's real love? When is the right time to say, I love you? Okay, so now get yourself into Friar Lawrence's garden. It's early in the morning. Niki's playing Romeo. James will play Friar Laurence. Romeo just shows up. Go for it.
Good morrow, Father.
Benedicite. Our Romeo have not been in bed tonight?
The sweeter rest was mine.
God pardon sin. Was that with Rosaline?
With Rosalind, my ghostly father, no. I have forgot that name, and that name's woe.
That's my good son. But where hast thou been then?
I have been feasting with mine enemy, and plainly know my heart's dear love is set on the fair daughter of rich Capulet, and hers is set on mine. So this I pray, that thou consent to marry us today.
Holy Saint Francis, what a change is here! And Rosaline, who thou did love so dear?
Thou chidest me oft for loving Rosalind.
For doting, not for loving, pupil mine.
I pray thee chide not, her I love now, doth grace for grace and love for love allow.
But come, young waverer, come, go with me. In one respect, I'll thy assistant be. For this alliance may so happy prove to turn your household's rancor to pure love.
Oh, let's hence. I stand on sudden haste.
Wisely and slow, they stumble that run fast. So smile the heavens upon this holy act, that after hours with sorrow chide us not. May he love moderately. Long love doth so, too swift arrives as poorly as too slow.
Great job. Hey, now all of us have read on screen. Phew. All right, well done. So what's happened in the scene?
Romeo's asking Friar to marry him and Juliet.
Absolutely. And why is this a shock to him?
Because the last thing that Friar knew, Romeo was all about the Rosaline.
Right.
Exactly. So I love I love this bit at the beginning when the friar asks whether Romeo has been in bed, and Romeo says, "Not a sweeter rest was mine." And Friar says, "God pardon sin, was that with Rosaline?" And James, since you got to step into the friar's shoes a bit there, just from reading the scene, how would you describe the friar and Romeo's relationship?
I feel like they've known each other like a really long time, I think. And since the friar knows all about Rosaline and has kind of like chided him or like, like got on his case about it, I think they just must be really close. Maybe the friar is kind of like it's almost like kind of like a father figure, something like that.
Yeah, that's the feeling I was getting. That Friar's like someone Romeo goes to for like all sorts of different advice. And I know that that's something a lot of us can relate to because, not all the time do we go to our parents to have those conversations,
Absolutely. And let's look at the middle of this scene. Romeo says to the friar, "Thou chidest me off for loving Rosaline." And chide just means to scold, but it can also mean it kind of playfully, like when your friend rips you, makes fun of you for something. And then the friar says, "For doting, not for loving, pupil mine." So since we get from the context, what do you think the friar means by doting?
I think friar means like having a strong desire for somebody, like even doting over something, right? Or being smitten by someone and being wooed.
I think he's kind of like, look, I scolded you because you were just like infatuated with Rosaline, right? But it was kind of immature. It wasn't like real love. He's kind of saying, look, there are different levels and different sorts of love, right?
So that doting is like a more immature kind.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So this is what we're going to journal on, is what's the difference between doting and loving? How do you know the difference? How do they feel different? Who have you doted on? Who have you loved? That's all different ways to look at that question. How do you know when it's real love? And when is the right time to say, "I love you"? So we're going to leave that up on the screen while we continue to talk about the scene a little bit. So when Romeo says, "Her I love now, doth grace for grace and love for love allow," James, you were listening to that scene as the friar. What do you think that means?
I think that means that Juliet has returned Romeo's gestures of love and feelings of love, and unlike Rosaline, who didn't do any of that stuff.
Right. And what is the friar going to do and why?
I honestly think he's going to help Romeo and Juliet out because maybe it's going to end the feud that they got going on.
Exactly. And the one thing we haven't really talked about in this scene is the fact that it rhymes.
I know. I noticed it. I love that. The scene that was read last time didn't rhyme at all. So thank you for giving me that task.
Oh, I love that you like that so much. Yeah, this might be the only time in the whole play where it actually goes into rhymes like this.
Yeah, I like the fact that the scene rhymes because I think it makes this part of that relationship between Romeo and the friar, it makes it kind of playful,
I love that. I agree. So on that note, let's take a look at some of the writing we received when we asked our incarcerated women's group to write a poem on when is the right time to say, "I love you." Not all of these poems rhyme, but some of them do. So this first one is, the real question is, when is the right time to express love? Love is butterflies, weak knees, blood pumping, heart throbbing, sweaty palms, mixed emotions, hazy thoughts, wild visions, and a speechless voice. Love is all of what I can give and all of me.
You told me you loved me, waited for me to answer. All I could say was, me too. Later I would regret having said me too. I must love you from a distance, knowing you belong to someone new.
Mm.
It's never too late to say how you feel. It's never too late to stop and be real. I love you. I love you. I love you. Say it as many times as you can. You never know when you can't anymore.
Mm. It is not in a rush. It is in time. Don't be afraid to gush. Don't be afraid to rhyme. If you say, I may believe, hopefully I feel the same. True love we could achieve. Say my name, say my name. Say it with assurance and say it with confidence. Don't wait too long or else I'll be gone.
Ooh. As soon as you wake up, before you walk out that door, when you come in from school, and many times more, when you're watching TV or playing video games, as you're getting ready for bed, at the end of the day, it's never a wrong time to say what I mean.
All right. Those are some beautiful pieces there.
Yeah, good stuff.
Whew. Okay, so now we're going to get back into the Shakespeare. We're going to move forward in the story. And we're going to look at the next scene between the friar and Romeo. And a lot's happened in between the scenes.
All right.
Romeo and Juliet have been married, and they've spent one night together. And neither of them have told anyone about the relationship, so it's still a secret. And meanwhile, in the street, Romeo's best friends Mercutio and Benvolio are hanging out, and then Juliet's cousin Tybalt shows up looking for Romeo. And Tybalt's still angry that Romeo crashed the Capulet party. Romeo shows up, but since he's now secretly Tybalt's cousin-in-law, he won't take any of the bait to fight, and he starts to talk of love instead. And that angers everybody. Right? Tybalt thinks he's being mocked when Romeo tells him he loves him, but he can't tell him why. And his buddy Mercutio thinks Romeo is being weak. He says, "Oh, vile, dishonorable submission." And Mercutio picks a fight with Tybalt, and swords are drawn, and Romeo gets in between to try to stop the fight. But instead of stopping the fight, Tybalt strikes Mercutio under Romeo's arm, and it's fatal. Romeo's best friend Mercutio dies. And in all of that emotion from having played a part in his best friend's death, Romeo picks up a sword and slays Tybalt. And now Romeo is a fugitive. He's committed a crime that calls for the death penalty. And he runs and hides at the friar's place. All right, so we're about to pick up where Romeo is hiding at the friar's cell. The friar has gone out to find out what the prince has decided for Romeo's punishment. And the scene picks up when the friar returns. Now, the question we've got up there is, what does banishment mean to you? How does it feel to be apart from everything you know? Okay, so you're at the friar's cell again. Niki is going to keep reading Romeo. James is going to read the friar.
All right.
Here we go.
Romeo, come forth, thou fearful man. Affliction is enamored of thy parts, and thou art wedded to calamity.
Father, what news? What is the prince's doom? What sorrow craves acquaintance at my hand that I yet not know?
Too familiar is my dear son with such sour company. I bring thee tidings of the prince's doom.
What less than doomsday is the prince's doom?
A gentler judgment vanished from his lips, not body's death, but body's banishment.
Ha, banishment? Be merciful, say death, for exile hath more terror in his look. Much more than death, do not say banishment.
Hence from Verona art thou banished. Be patient, for the world is broad and wide.
There is no world without Verona walls, but purgatory, torture, hell itself. Hence banishment is banished from the world, and world's exile is death. Then banished is death misturned. Calling death banishment, thou cuttest my head off with a golden axe and smile upon the strokes of that murdered me.
O deadly sin, O rude unthankfulness! Thy fault our law calls death, but the kind prince taking thy part, hath rushed aside the law, and turned the black word death to banishment. This 'tis dear mercy, and thou seest it not.
'Tis torture and not mercy. Heaven is here, where Juliet lives, and every cat and dog and little mouse, every unworthy thing, live here in heaven and may look on her. But Romeo may not. He is banished. Flies may do this, but I am from this must fly. They are free men, but I am banished. Hast thou no poison mixed, so no sudden death, but banished to kill me? Banished?
Thou fond madman, hear me but speak a word.
Unless philosophy can make a Juliet, displan a town, reverse a prince's doom, it helps not, it prevails not, talk no more.
Oh, then I see that madmen have no ears.
How should they? What that wise men have no eyes?
Knock, knock, knock.
Arise, one knocks, good Romeo, hide thyself.
Whoa, all right. That was awesome. That was really great.
Oh, you know what I really like about that scene is certainly from the friar's perspective, he's really trying his best in this really bad situation to try and put even some part of a positive spin on it. He's trying to let Romeo know that, you know, the prince has changed the rules because the friars asked him to for Romeo, and he's doing his best, like I said, in this bad situation to try and let Romeo see some kind of light, but it's really hard for him to get that across.
I love how you're speaking so like passionately about it. There's something about stepping into the shoes of a character.
Right.
And then you feel like you've lived it. You've lived that moment. You feel the passion and the argument of that character. Okay, before we try to talk more about the scene, I feel like you both read it so well. Let's make sure that we know what the reflection questions are to journal on. It's what does banishment mean to you? And one way to look at that might be what would you want other people to understand about banishment? And how does it feel to be away from everything you know?
All right. So
that's for journaling.
So what happens in this scene?
So it sounds like Romeo didn't get the death penalty, but he got banished instead. But he's not happy about it, like, at all. He thinks the banishment is even worse than death.
Right.
Exactly. And that friar keeps wanting Romeo to understand that life will go on. It was mercy. But this just drives Romeo crazy that the friar can't see Romeo's point of view. And I love this line. You read it so well, Niki. Calling death banishment, thou cuts my head off with a golden axe and smilest upon the stroke that murders me. And I love that because that whole idea that from Romeo's point of view, the friar thinks he's giving good news, but feeling like it's cutting his head off with a golden axe. Like, hey, there's no silver lining here, dude. You're smiling while you're killing me, but you are still killing me. And the smiling makes it worse.
Yeah, like I said, that like the friar is just doing his best to try and let Romeo know that, you know, this is bad, but it's not as bad as it could be. And he just can't quite make Romeo see that.
And I think for me, I definitely can relate to the way that it's written and what it says, you know, especially as far as banishment goes. I think back of when I was first incarcerated, and initially they wanted to give me an LWOP sentence, life without the possibility of parole. But due to my age, they sentenced me to an excessive and extreme sentence instead, you know. And so same thing. It's like, you know, trying to shine light on that. And then in the midst of my world, I was like, Romeo, like that it's the same. You might as well just kill me. Like I understand that feeling and that emotion that he's speaking of right there.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that, Niki. So let's look at some of the thoughts that our first cast of Romeo and Juliet had on this idea, this notion of banishment. So let's share some of what the men wrote. And I'll go with the first one. And it says, banishment is to be sent away to unknown lands, never to return.
Banishment to me means everything you know to be life, to be pulled from your life.
Wow. Banishment to me is to get exiled from someplace dear to me, not allowed to step back foot in. It's actually a true form of looking over your shoulder constantly, 24/7, 365 days. It's an all-day, everyday job.
Those were the guys. And we also had some responses from some of our women who wrote on, how does it feel to be away from everything you know? I miss my kids and my insulin pen, being in control of my health and being in my own skin. There's always a role to play here: inmate, roommate, counselor. At home, I'm just mom.
I miss my job, my mom, and food, real food. I miss driving, running, and being able to come and go as I please. I miss my freedom.
I'm guessing for most of it feels scary and a bit lonely. One might feel sad and depressed or angry and anxious. On a personal level, I feel optimistic about new discoveries. Being away from everything I know, it can be hard for me. But for me, memories can go anywhere, which brings me to always feeling safe and content where I go because I'm always inside of what I know, my unique self.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think with such the heaviness, right, of the content of banishment, and it can be challenging to even express those emotions. And I think it's important for all of us to understand that, like, no matter what we feel or what it is that we've done or how we actually have been banished, that we are all amazing human beings that connect in a way that just absolutely bring us together, right? And so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Erika so maybe she can lead us in like a breathing exercise so we can get centered.
So we're going to breathe in through our nose on a 4 count. We're going to try to leave our shoulders and upper chest still and try to make our lower body just expand like this. And your belly might just flop out like that. So here we go. We're going to breathe in on 4. And then when we breathe out through our mouth, we're going to try to let it go for a full 8 count. So twice as long as the breath in. Here we go. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do that again. Nice deep breath in. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then just take in air normally. All right, I hope you're feeling a little bit better after that. How are you feeling after that, guys?
Feeling relaxed, feel centered, feel good.
I feel like I needed that, and that was great. Thank you very much.
Nice.
Well, good. And guess what? That's the end of our 2nd episode.
No, that was so quick.
What? They went fast. Well, congratulations, everyone. And again, I was really happy that we could all connect together, all these different things we might experience and go through, and use Shakespeare's words and his scenes to help us connect like that. So let's do what we do at the end of each class, and that is we're just going to go around and we're going to have a 1-word checkout, which is 1 word sharing how you feel right now. Erika, you go ahead, then Nikki go, I'll go, and then everyone watching, you can throw in your words too.
Okay, happy.
Pumped.
Good. And everyone watching, nice. All right, and now the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and on 4, we're going to all try and clap our hands at the same time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
So close.
All right.
Yeah.
Way to go, everyone. Goodbye to everybody watching.
Bye,
Right.
guys.
It's good to see you guys.
See you
Hopefully we'll
next
see you
time.
next time. We'll see
We'll
you.
see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. If you're watching this over the internet, we'd like you to share your reflections with us so we can share them on a future episode highlighting community responses. Please go to https://bit.ly/rstv02. That's for Reflecting Shakespeare TV episode 2. You'll find a form there with all the questions, and you can just fill it in and send it in to us. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.